short segment actually. I just wanted to sort of talk about the next steps on the grain filling. I'm using just what you can see here, which is this is even just actually for pine coloured, I think it said. I just had this one punting about. And what I'm going to do here is just a couple of different bits. One part I'll be just adding a little bit of water to it to turn it into something of a light slurry that I can use just to make it easier to fold into some of the general grain down in this area here. There's a couple of bits I'll be using the just the full strength stuff. There's a bit of a knock on the body here, and there's a couple of holes just on the tail end here that I want to put some extra thick material on there, so we'll get into that from there. For right now also, I just want to just give the body a wipe down with something particularly clean. So this is just brand new out of the packet to ensure that it's actually going to get as much dust off as possible, and then we'll see how we go with the application from there. Instructions on this actually suggest that you're using about 10, as I said, 10 to 15% water into this mix, but as you can see, with such a small amount in there in the first place, it kind of becomes a little bit of a guess. So I've just sort of tried to go with as low as reasonably possible. I think even that may have been a little bit high, so we may be adding just a bit more in. Now obviously you don't want too much water in there because it's going to have to dry sooner or later, so obviously the having a bit of water in there turns it into something that can actually just sort of slide into the gaps in the grain a little bit easier. The other thing that I'm sort of not exactly concerned about, I mean, there's none of this is stuff that we can't adjust. It's not a moment of going back, but certainly the thing I don't want to have happen with this is that it shrinks and still leaves a gap. So that's really what I'm focused on here. But this actually seems to be coming together quite well. so that's the solid part, oh, sorry, the sort of slurry part. And as you can see, I mean, you'd say, well, I've made a mess of that, but I'm not really at all worried about it in this particular context, because it's going to get sanded back thoroughly before we go any further with it. So in fact, since it's been fairly nice and easy to actually apply, I've been just sort of putting it onto parts where I can even see minor imperfections, because if I was, certainly if I was leaving this as a stained guitar, that would be a different kettle of fish. But since this is getting painted, my big concern actually is just getting it as smooth as is possible. So this is why I've been quite happy to put the slurry on in the way that I have. I actually saw a guy on YouTube, as anyone who's a budding guitar maker probably spends a vast amount of their time watching other people doing this sort of stuff. I actually had a really deep grain in a guitar he was working on, and actually sort of put a silver, I couldn't tell you what it was. It wasn't a dye. It was quite a almost like a metallic underlay, like you'd use on a car or something similar to that. And he actually sort of forced it into the grain by hand, and it actually gave it this quite extraordinary finish. So there is quite a lot you could do with this, even if you were using it as something of a with a clearer coat over the top. So what I want to do now is just using the full thickness bit on a couple of these parts here, is just fill these little holes here that I'm not wild about. I'm not bothering to spatula this flat, actually, because I'd like the this stuff to dry just slightly proud, which will mean I can do the final shaping down with the sander. Okay, so that will pretty much, I think, do it for the filler as far as we're concerned right now. Hopefully nobody watching at home is looking at this and just cringing and thinking he's going to have a problem when he comes back to this. I've used the wood filler fairly frequently actually on other projects, so I'm fairly confident that it's going to be okay. You know, first time for everything, of course, to go wrong, if that is the way it goes. But I think we're going to be okay here. I mean, worst case scenario with most of it, you could sand it out if you had to, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think actually with this, it should come up. This should pretty much wrap up, giving a nice smooth finish actually to most of the guitar. So I think I might actually just put the tiniest little bit of slurry that I've got left over on the underside of the guitar there, and that should wrap it up. So yeah, so we'll see how we go tomorrow once this is dried, and that all going well, this will actually get us to the end of the body part of the build, and we are essentially on to painting from this point forward after the next stage of sanding.